When you look at the circumstances surrounding the birth of Christ, it doesn't seem all that peaceful. And then you fast forward to today, some 2,000 years later, and not much has changed. We look around and we see a world that is not full of peace. And some people tend to wonder, well, if Jesus is the Prince of Peace, has he failed? Has he failed? Well, kind of depends on how you define peace, doesn't it? What's interesting in Hebrew, the words Prince of Peace, it's two words, Sar, Shalom, which Kelvin Horning, one of our elders here, made this beautiful structure for me, so a little shout out to Kelvin, but it's a great visual when you think about the meaning behind those words. Sar was actually a term that they would use to define who was in charge. So it meant Lord, it meant general, it meant the one who was in charge. Romans used this word, it was actually C-Z-A-R, which then became known as Caesar, like Julius Caesar, like the one who was in charge of everything, the ruler of the world at that time. And so when we refer to it with Christ, he is the Lord. He's the general. He's the one who is in charge. He's the Sar of what? Shalom. And shalom, what's interesting about that word is it was a greeting that one person would give to another person. It meant rest. It meant peace. It meant, wholeness on you, completeness. It meant, have a good life. It was all things good that you would give as a greeting to another person. And so think about it. 700 years before the birth of Christ, 700 years before the incarnation, Isaiah says about Jesus that he would be the Sar Shalom, the Lord, the general, the one who's in charge of peace and tranquility and wholeness, all that. So here's the picture I want you to get today. Under Christ, when you've placed your life, your everything, under Christ, you can have peace, you can have rest, you can have protection. But outside of that shelter, outside of the Prince of Peace, you can't. Does that mean that you can kind of live however you want? As long as you're a Christian, you can just kind of live however you want and still expect to have peace? Like our culture, you can claim to be a Christian, claim to believe in God, but not have anything different about your life, not have a Christian life reflect it and still expect to have peace? No, of course not. Because if you choose to make decisions, if you choose to live your life outside of the lordship of Jesus, and you look up, you got a lot of problems. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of things that are coming at you that will cause some stress and some chaos and some discomfort in your life. It's only when we step under the lordship of Christ and receive his protection as our Prince of Peace that peace actually becomes tangible in such a practical way. Does that make sense? And so you got to first understand, when Isaiah 9:6 was written, some 700 years before the birth of Christ, it wasn't for the purpose of looking good on a holiday greeting card. There was something real and powerful that Isaiah was prophesying about the coming Messiah that would be so practical and relevant to our everyday lives, that he would be the Sar Shalom, the Prince of Peace.